Hey guys, Miss Arden here to help you out with day 29. Happy Thursday. We're continuing our work on our 2020 pandemic journal, right? That combined lesson with social studies and English. If you're using the paper packet, you've got the article at the end of the packet. You're looking at Article 2, right? Sections 11 and 12, okay? If you're doing it online, here's the Google form. Don't forget that since this is the combined English and social studies assignment, you got to make sure and send a copy of your responses to your English teacher. So forward that email once you submit your Google form. Forward that email so that you can get credit for both classes to your English teacher, okay? So the first question that it's going to ask you is dealing with you and your response, right? What's going on with you in COVID-19? And so the question that's going to go in your journal about this is, how has this event, right, COVID-19 or coronavirus, how has this event changed your thoughts and feelings about your future? Has it made you think any differently about what the future is going to be like for you or for the world? Put anything that you have here. Remember, these are opinions, so there's no right or wrong answer. There's a sentence frame here if you need it, but how has this changed your thoughts or your feelings about your future? Okay. And the second question that's all about your opinion as well is, how has it inspired you to think differently about your life? Okay, so because of this event, because of COVID-19 or coronavirus, what have you thought differently? Like, what is something that you thought of or you thought about in a certain light, and now it's kind of changed, right? Once again, an opinion. So there's no right or wrong answer. Just how has it inspired you to think differently about your life? Okay. And then we've got two chunks of the article that we're responsible for reading today. Remember, we're on Article 2, Chunk 11 and Chunk 12. And they're kind of split here, but just because it was a split of the page, so it had to be in two different spots. But let's read Chunk 11 first. Fighting the flu. And remember, we're looking at the Spanish flu or the influenza of 1918 to compare it to COVID-19. Fighting the flu. When the 1918 flu hit, doctors and scientists were unsure what caused it or how to treat it. Unlike today, they had no effective vaccines or antivirals, drugs that treat the flu. So there was no medicine or no shots that you could get to help you. Complicating matters was the fact that World War I had left parts of America with a shortage of physicians and healthcare workers. So it means that they didn't have enough doctors. Moreover, many of these medical personnel then came down with the flu themselves. In some areas, hospitals were so overloaded with flu patients that schools and private homes had to be converted into makeshift hospitals, some of which were staffed by medical students. So they kind of had to use whatever they could to become little temporary hospitals to be able to fit all the sick. Okay, Chunk 12. Officials in some communities quarantined the sick. They ordered citizens to wear masks and shut down public places, including schools, churches, and theaters. People were advised to avoid shaking hands and to stay indoors. Libraries put a halt on lending books, and laws were even passed to make spitting illegal. Okay? So, after reading those two chunks of the article, here are the questions that we're going to answer. The first one, what role did World War I play in making the outbreak worse? So the article mentions up here in this section right here, okay, that World War I kind of made it the flu even worse than it would have been. And so what is it that made the outbreak worse because of the First World War? Okay, there's a sentence frame if you need it. Your last question deals with that Venn diagram, right? What is a new similarity? So what is something that when you read these chunks, you're like, man, that sounds familiar to coronavirus, to COVID-19. What sounds familiar, something that we're dealing with now? And what is a difference between what you just read in these two article chunks and what we see in COVID-19 or coronavirus? Okay, so a similarity and a difference. Okay, remember, every time you can use some evidence from the article, your argument is even stronger. Let me know if you have any questions. Send me an email. Be glad to help you. Happy Thursday, guys. You're almost done. It's almost the weekend. Have a good day.